Hi guys, it's week 10 of home learning. This is the first lesson of the week. Just to remind you, you can use the TTS reader for any subjects where you're struggling to read a text. You should know the overview of the sessions. 4 sessions, there will be a show my homework quiz at the end of this week. This session today is Memory Monday. We focused on plurals, Y to IES. We focused on tricky words. We've done a lot of vocabulary, elusive del, frantic scurry, rancid, and so on and so forth. We've worked on punctuation mastery. We've worked on using sentence parameters. We've worked on using speech punctuation and using metaphor. In this session, we will focus on recapping some new vocabulary and SVO and speech punctuation. Okay, vocab check. What can you remember? What these icons represent? So pause the video and write number 1 and 2. What were those icons representing, and could you define the terms? Okay, so they were slave and exploit. If you can't remember what they meant, create a word web. SVO. Rule: a full sentence needs a subject, a verb, and an object. Which of these examples are full sentences? So all you'll need to do is write down the number if you wish. 1, the cat sat on the mat. 2, the brown dog. 3, the yellow canary picked up a worm. That should say there. 4, Jenny ran for the bus. 5, the long red bus. 6, I love my new pen. Punctuating lists. Rule: in a list, divide up each item with a comma apart from the last one, which you add to the list with and. I need some pens, pencils, paper, and a calculator before I start my class. I must buy some eggs, milk, sugar, and tea. 3, I want to go to the shop to buy chocolate, strawberries, and lemonade. That should be pretty straightforward. The big question: can you or can I accurately use speech punctuation? There are several rules, but let's revisit the rules that we usually use. You must begin a new line for each speaker. Any dialogue must be marked with speech punctuation. A new line of speech must begin with a capital letter, and you must use punctuation before you close speech marks. So if we look at this example, Anoop took the piece of paper from the rich man held up to him. He stared at it long and silently, then gloomily and apologetically shook his head. Impossible, he said. So if we look here, we start with a capital letter for I, we have our speech marks around it, and then we have a form of punctuation here. And then again, I need at least 12 months to do an average carpet. For this, and 7 a month, no, impossible. And again, you can see we start and we stop. Okay, the rich man pulled out a fat briefcase from the car. He opened it up. There was a gasp from the onlookers. No one had ever seen so much money, great wads of it all stapled and bound straight from the bank. This is what you get now, and the rest when it's finished. I'm sure you can do it. Just work a little harder and a little longer each day, eh? He tweaked the ear of the nearest boy. Remember that the punctuation you need at the end of your sentence reflects what it is. So in this case, he's asking a question. Anoop hesitated. Take it, voices around him urged. Anoop's brain spun. Notice how Anoop has his sentence here and then the voices around him here. You've got a separate line because it's a new speaker. Anoop's brain spun. Common sense said, don't do it. You can't do it, but the money. I'll do it. Your carpet will be ready in time. Anoop gave the old run with a pattern. You better study this, he said. So you're going to read the next section. You need to read it through once. Then you need to decide on where any missing speech punctuation is. Here are a few of the rules. You've seen them before. You must begin a new line for each new speaker. Any dialogue must be marked with speech punctuation. A new line of speech must begin with a capital letter. And you must use punctuation before you close speech marks. This is the section that you are doing. Obviously, I do not expect you to write out the whole of that paragraph. You can just mark out the bits on your page. Okay, so you could write out the particular sentence. Now Rama knew why Anoop had hesitated. The pattern was a paradise garden of strutting peacocks and sweeping tails, gold-spotted deer leaping through the undergrowth, squirrels coiling round tree trunks, and monkeys swinging from bough to bough. All sorts of exotic birds swooped and trilled and pecked at luscious fruit and flowers. Most extraordinary of all was the tree of life, from its spreading root at the base, rising up and up through twisting, coiling branches all the way to the top, where the rays of rising sun pierced golden shafts through the leaves. It would need thread of every colour in the rainbow. There aren't enough hours in the day, Rama protested softly. Then we will use the hours of the night too, Anoop retorted harshly. Can you see what would need to be in the speech punctuation marks? And so you would only need to write out somewhere down here. And can you write it out and mark out how it should be? Pause the video and have a go. Okay, answers. The correct answers for the SVO sentences were the cat sat on the mat, the cat is the sentence, sat is the verb, and the mat is the object. Again, here, the yellow canary is the subject, picked is the verb, and worm is the object. Jenny ran for the bus, Jenny is the subject, ran is the verb, and the bus is the object. I is the subject, love is the verb, and my new pen is the object. I actually wrote these examples myself and realised I didn't test you that much really because I left the word and in. However, hopefully you've accurately punctuated your list. Pens, comma, pencils, comma, paper, eggs, comma, milk, comma, sugar and tea, chocolate, comma, strawberries and lemonade. And your speech marks here. There aren't enough hours in the day. End of your speech punctuation, and then a new line for a new speaker, which is a noop. Then we will use the hours of the night too, a noop retorted partially. Other ideas, if you're missing AR, as I've always said, read on myon.co.uk is really good for sort of a range of texts. And also, we're going to kind of be going down the road of social injustice if you haven't noticed. Can you create a case study into what social injustice means with examples as an extra idea of something you can do? Particularly, I'm recording these. It's absolutely hammering with rain outside. So I think you're going to be looking for even more things to occupy yourself. So why not? Okay, hope everybody's well and look forward to reading some more of your work this week.